Weibo break the women's 400-meter world record? Well, I have 4 candidates with a few honorable mentions. And let's start off with number 4, Shawnee Miller-Weibo, the 2-time Olympic champion and 1-time world champion over the 400 meters, right? So Shawnee Miller-Weibo has been retired for the last 2 years because she had a baby, right? But at her peak, she has the physique. Like, wow. She has the speed. She has the charisma. She has the history of being a great performer in finals. I believe Shawnee Miller-Weibo can run a sub-48 under the right conditions. The only problem I have with Shawnee Miller-Weibo is nothing with her. It's just her motivation. Shawnee Miller-Weibo has had 1 foot in, 1 foot out with the sport, especially the 400, over the last 3 years. That's why she had a baby. And I don't know if she's going to come back to the 400, but I believe, given the current stacked field, the greatest era of 400 women running that we are in right now, probably best ever, I believe Shawnee Miller-Weibo would look at this field and be motivated to compete again, because when she won her world title and second Olympic championship, there was no competition. Everyone else was young. There were no established sub-49 runners. She was the only sub-49 runner that was available to run in those championships. So it was easy for her to just look at the field and say, you know what, I might as well retire. No one's coming close. All my competition is either suspended, hasn't arrived yet, and I've already done everything I have to do except break the world record. And I think she's looking at that's a bad mindset to have given her talent. So right now with the other 3 candidates, I believe she should come back, go full 400-meter effort, screw the heptathlon, get back to your peak physique, and, dominate the world like you did from 2017 to 2020 or 2021 or actually 2022. That was like a 5-year reign of 400-meter dominance with one hiccup in 2019, right? So, Shawnee Miller-Weibo, top 4. She's not in my top 3 because she's been inactive, and I don't know if she can come back to this shape, but I believe she can. Number 3, we have Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, like I said with Shawnee Miller-Weibo, she has the physique to do it. She has the mentality to do it. She has the history to do it. She has all the tools, the support system, to break this record. Out of all the ladies here, Sydney McLaughlin is the most certified world record breaker. If you were to bet your money on who will break a world record next year, bet on Sydney McLaughlin. She's done it 6 times in the last 3 years, I believe, in the 400-meter hurdles. So I know Sydney McLaughlin, if she were to just leave the hurdles now, like I've been saying, go with the real competition, they're going to push it to a new level. Remember when Dalilah Muhammad existed and she was the GOAT? Sydney McLaughlin in her first year as a pro was pushing Dalilah Muhammad at her peak. So baby Sydney was at the level of a GOAT Muhammad. And you know what happened after that? She just left her behind, and she's been the GOAT since. So Sydney McLaughlin, I believe, should use her prime years, which is literally last year, this year, and the next 3. She's already wasted 2. She's got to use the next 3 and crack the world record in the 400. Like, after 28, I'm not sure if she's going to keep progressing the way she has been. She's been progressing at a monstrous rate. I meant to say. There's no one like her who executes and keeps PRing in the finals. So use this momentum. Use your talents to break a 30-year-old plus record. I believe that's the oldest track and field world record now, the women's 400-meter world record. So if there's anyone who has the mindset to do it, it's Sydney McLaughlin. And I would not be surprised if she does it. Right now, I believe she can run a 48-1, 48-2. No lower than that. But next year, if she were to go full focus, she definitely has the potential of running a sub-48. And she's going to have to run the race of her life with the competition of all time to break this world record. That's the only way I see her breaking this world record. This is not the hurdles. This is the 400-meter flat. Lactic acid is going to hit you harder than any other race. You're going to need a threat that's going to put some fear in you and make you ignore that lactic to break that world record. So, Sydney McLaughlin's top 3. Number 2, Salwa Eid Nasser is my number 2 contender. She is the 3rd fastest woman in history, world champion in the 400 in 2019. She was the one hiccup to Shaunae Miller-Uibo's reign, and rightfully so. So Salwa Eid Nasser, if you don't know who she is, she's actually a very, very good 400-meter runner and a consistent one at that. From like 2017 to 2019, she was running 200s, 100s, and 400s. I saw her 100-meter speed. She tracked down some woman in the Asian Championship, some crazy race, and she tracked her down like Usain Bolt. So out of all 4 contenders, I actually think Salwa Eid Nasser has the best 100-meter speed because she has a way faster turnover. She has great stride, a great stride length, and she has great power. So Salwa Eid Nasser, at her best, I believe, can definitely run a sub 48. And if she were to run it in the final again, I think she would upset the number 1 contender in Paulino, who I'm going to go over later. And the one thing that I believe she has the capability of breaking this world record is when she runs in the championship final, she always runs the best performances. In 2019, when she was getting her ass kicked by Shaunae Miller-Uibo, the whole year, she pulled off the race of her life and ran a 1-second PR to win the world title in the 3rd fastest time ever. So now she has a new rivalry with Paulino, and I think that same story is going to repeat. She's going to lose next year to Paulino all the way up to the final, but in the final, she's going to run the race of her life and put the blitz over the first 200, maintain it, and she's going to put out the most monstrous PR. Maybe it's a world record, maybe not, but I definitely think if anyone can do it in that type of race, it's Salwa Eid Nasser. So now number 1 is Paulino from the Dominican Republic. Current world champion, current Olympic champion, the best 400-meter runner over the last 2 years. No one's come close. She's beaten Sydney McLaughlin. She's beaten Salwa Eid Nasser. She has not beaten Shaunae Miller-Uibo, but if they were to race right now or over the last 2 years, I believe she would have surpassed Shaunae Miller-Uibo because Shaunae Miller-Uibo was pregnant. She's been out. And ever since, Paulino, her physique has literally transformed. She used to be so skinny. Now she has a ton of muscle. And it's only going to get even crazier. She literally has the strongest last 100 with her dagger arm swing. Looks like she's stabbing her opponents down the track. I definitely think that if she's pushed, she's going to run a sub 47. She almost ran a 48.0 in the Paris Olympics. She eased up and ran the 4th fastest time. So imagine if she had some threat next to her. She would have ran harder those last 20 or 30 meters and ran a sub 48. Now, will she run the world record? I definitely think she will. The only question is, who will break it first? I definitely think these 4 women have the potential of running 47.6 or faster. But the one who I think will be able to do it first is actually Nasser because, like I said, in a championship final, I believe this record will be broken in a final. But when it comes down to a final and making history, Salwa Eid Nasser has done it. She's been able to prove to upset the dominating favorite like she did with Shaunae Miller-Uibo. And I think she's going to do it to Paulino next year. Salwa Eid Nasser is not the type of runner or competitor to keep losing to the same person for 5 years. I believe she's going to eventually shock Paulino because Paulino's going to get comfortable with Nasser coming up as a runner-up. And in that moment, Nasser's just going to blitz her and break the world record in the final. Maybe it's in Tokyo or the year after, but I think Nasser will be the first one to do it. Now, the question is who's going to run faster overall. That's tough, but I actually think after Paulino breaks the world record in that final in Tokyo or some type of final where it's big enough for them to peak. I actually think Paulino will break Nasser's record and take it down to another level. So after Nasser breaks the world record first, Paulino will be the one to maintain it longer because she's going to break it soon after. And then Paulino will keep her reign of dominance for I don't know how long, but it might come to an end to number 3 Sydney McLaughlin or Shana Miller-Uibo. So the one who has the shortest time frame, obviously, to break this record is Miller-Uibo. She has to come back in peak form and do this next year with the greatest competition. And Sydney McLaughlin, I think she would be the third horse. So after Nasser and Paulino, I think it would be a battle between Paulino and Nasser. I think it will be a battle between Sydney McLaughlin and Paulino on who can take the record lower the most. So eventually we're going to see a 47.3, a 47.2, and then it's going to be a conversation of who can take it to sub 47, Paulino or Sydney. And then Nasser would be the third person like Alison Dos Santos, who's running a 47 man. But you never know. Nasser can keep getting faster. I wouldn't be surprised and be like the 3 horsemen of this event. But Shana Miller-Uibo has to do this before these women leave her behind because her time is running out. And honorable mentions. So honorable mentions is Femke Bol. So Femke Bol is actually the world record holder in the indoor 400. And given how we know how indoor and outdoor PRs relate to each other, Femke Bol has a 49.17 PR. Usually your PR in the outdoor event is 1 second faster. So if we adjust that to her world record indoors, Femke Bol is able to run a 48.17. And that is backed up by the fact that she runs a 47.9 anchor split in the 4x4. So Femke Bol definitely can be a world record threat in the open 400, given that she already has the indoor 400-meter world record. But the only thing that will not make her a candidate is because she has not hinted at the fact that going for the 400-meter outdoor world record, she hasn't hinted on switching events like Sydney has. So for now, she's going to remain an honorable mention because she has the capability and ability to potentially do it, but not the motivation at the moment. So she cannot be a candidate by default. Then another honorable mention is the girl from Jamaica. What's her name? Nikisha Price. So Nikisha Price is the current collegiate record holder, NCAA champion. She was in the fastest college race of all time where 4 women ran sub 50, 3 of which ran a 49, and she was the only one to run a 48.89. So she has the mentality to show up and show out at big finals with strong competition. And the moment I realized she's a contender is she's 23 and she ran a 48.57 in a Diamond League leading up to the Olympics. And I believe if she didn't burn out her candle, which means her race shape, her conditioning, her peak, before the Paris Olympic Games, I think she would have gotten a medal over Kaczmarek. And rightfully so, because she has a way faster PR. She may be able to be in Nasser for second place and ran at 48.3. So given her age and her trajectory and her resume, she's one to look out for the future. The only reason she's not a candidate is 48.5 is still a second away from 47.6. It's a whole different level below it. So until I see a low 48 from Price, she is not a contender. I got to see a 48.3 or faster before you're a world record threat. And then another honorable mention is I got to show some love to Kaczmarek. Where's Natalia Kaczmarek? So Kaczmarek right now, every year she's gotten better. She's the last woman, I believe, to have run, out of all the women I mentioned, I believe there's another one this year who has run a sub 49. So if you can run a sub 49, you have at least potential of challenging the world record some way, somehow. A lot of sub 49 runners don't ever run faster after their sub 49 performance, but she's proven to run sub 49 multiple times. So that tells me that she has potential to run faster in the 48 range. Now, will she ever crack a 47? I don't know. Maybe if her trajectory and her progression this year carries over to next year, then she should be able to run a 48 mid or 48 or a 48.4 next year. And if she does that next year, then she's definitely on world record watch. Not a top contender because it's still a second away, but given her current status right now, she has potential but not a candidate because 48.9 is still 1.5 seconds away from the world record. So it's still leagues and leagues away. But definitely the fastest runner, one of the top 3 fastest runners in the world. I would say she has to keep training, and if she does, she will definitely be a contender. But as of right now, she's just an honorable mention because she's a medalist. All right? So those are my honorable mentions and contenders. Who do you think is going to break the 400-meter world record? Drop your comments down below. See you on the next video.